Hello, this is Nicola Liquid Soul, and you're here with us in the BPM College in Tel Aviv.
Somebody don't know, this is Liquid Soul. This guy is one of the source of the progressive trance in the world.
Who make history in the world.
Sure, for sure. From the 90s, this guy produced music and doing a very good job all over the world. And now he was here in a great party. It was Independence Day.
That's fine.
Yeah, a really good party, and he played there also.
With Yoni, actually.
Yeah, with Yoni Ace
Ventura, sorry. Yeah.
So we will start from the beginning, when you was small, Nicola.
Yeah, I was yeah.
Really small one, you know.
Very small, yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, what is when you grow up, from what kind of influence you get your.
Well, yeah. So basically, I was more into like at that time it was like in the 90s, you know, and there was more like I was into like Metallica and Guns N' Roses, some kind of heavy metal rock stuff, a little bit of dance music like Mr. Wayne and stuff, Snap, I don't know, but basically I was into more heavy metal and punk rock stuff. Until a friend of mine who was a few years older than me, I was in his home and he actually bought some vinyls and he said to me like, man, listen to this is techno, you know, trance. I don't know, actually it was techno at the time they called it. And he showed me this and I was like, in 1 second I was in love with that. I don't know, it just like, I always thought I know what I like, but somehow it was something really new and I really.
Do you remember this moment that it catch you?
Absolutely, yeah. I
Can
really,
you tell us about this moment?
I can even tell you which song it was, so because it catched me like in 1 second, and I was like, wow, what is this? And I like, yeah, this is techno music. And so, okay, what is techno music? So yeah, it's like boom, 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 and you know. So the track was on IQ Records from s.u.n. His label was this. And the track was Odyssey of Noise, Fire Dancer. Very melodic trance track, and yeah, it just, I don't know, it just catched me, yeah. And since then, it didn't change nothing, yeah, it didn't change anything. And I decided to, first of all, I listened to it, but only like for a short time, and then I wanted to kind of, I saw it somewhere, I don't remember where I saw it, that you can mix it, so I tried to get somehow a vinyl player, so I had to go to work and bring some, I was like paperboy, I was paperboy in my free time to get some money to buy this
and when you decided to actually make this, you know, this special feeling that you feel and start to produce
produce came later,
something from it.
But I was like 14 years. I was too young actually, and I couldn't go to clubs or something like that at that moment. So I was just like doing so one day I could buy this basic setup of turntables and a mixer, and I started to try to mix it somehow, but I didn't understood that you can beat match it at the time. because it was so new, so there was no one who knew it actually, and of course there were some DJs around, but not in our areas, and as I couldn't go to clubs, so I couldn't see what they're actually doing. So I just trying to do it somehow until I was like 16 or something, and I managed to go somehow into a club. We had like
in Switzerland?
In Switzerland, we had a really like amazing scene there actually from very early on, and it was huge. So somehow I managed to go into the club, even it was forbidden for me. So I was standing actually always next to the DJ and watch for hours what he's doing there and trying to understand what exactly he's doing with like beat matching and stuff, you know. And then I went home and tried it at home.
You remember this first set? Do you remember
My
it?
first set?
Yes.
Was in the garage.
In the garage,
In the garage of a friend who had like a birthday party and something like that.
And when you start, you tell us before that it was the techno. That
we called it techno because there were no styles yet known. I mean, when you went to a party, they were playing from techno to hardcore to deep house, however you call it, to trance music. Yeah, so I was actually into trance and hardcore, happy hardcore actually we called it. But we were much more open at the time because it was so new and it was so, it didn't matter if it's hardcore or trance or techno like Carl Cox playing, you know, like it doesn't matter actually.
Can you tell us about your release? I know there's a lot.
Which
we need like 3 hours
for
all the release. but,
I don't know even how many there are.
But if you can pick something, from your album, tell to the students about your big project in the last years.
Well, I think the big like when I started with Liquid Soul, which was like in 2001 or 2002. I think my biggest success. My first big success was the Crazy People track. This was like a worldwide hit, I would say. Till today, people want to hear it every time I come. And later on, there were, for sure, from my previous album, Love in Stereo, the track Devotion, which I think it's really a masterpiece, even I can say myself. It's like really emotional, beautiful track. And Global Illumination for sure as well was a step for my career. Yeah, the whole album actually was a big step. Also the previous, I mean, yeah, it's a bit weird to say it when I say it myself. But I mean, my first album was Synthetic Vibes, which were sure also a milestone for myself and also I think for the scene because it was a bit different than the trance you heard before because it became more slow, like let's say it was more progressive and uplifting melodies and yeah, it wasn't that dark anymore, let's say, as before, and yeah, more uplifting. So that's why I think it comes from my trance background, so I like melodies, so and still today. Yeah.
The last time you have a new release, the new album,
yeah,
Revolution.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the idea behind this album and this production?
Yeah, it took me quite a while to finish it, as there's a lot of pressure always, a lot of expectations.
But you had success.
Yeah, it was good in the end, yes. I am happy how it went. I feel that lately everything started to sound a little bit the same. And yeah, I just feel it's a bit sad for the scene that people, producers, young producers, mainly copying other producers. And I think it's a bit sad, yeah. Because it's loss of creativity. We have so much possibilities today compared to the old days. And it's hard, for me, it's hard to find some good tracks I really like from other producers. Not saying it's bad, but it's like it's it's a little lack of creativity, I think, for the possibilities we have. Yeah.
Do you have other project
Beside of Liquid
beside
Soul?
Liquid Soul?
Yes, I do have. I have a project called Sleek, which I just run for fun, which I do some more low BPM stuff from deep house to techno to prog house, whatever, however you want to call it. I'm really free there, and I just do what I just feel like. I didn't release a lot lately, but I just do it to have some kind of a balance and do it for myself. And of course, here and there I release it something as well. And I had a project with my best friend Martin. This project called Ear Sugar, which but we don't have so much time anymore, as I'm quite busy with this Liquid Soul thing. And yeah, here and there I do some collaborations. I do now some new stuff with Size, featuring Solar Kid, which is a girl from Serbia who sings. She's amazing.
Sounds really good.
So we're trying to do some new stuff with her to make maybe kind of a performance show as well in the end, some kind of live show as much we can, that she sings and speaking and yeah, like something like that. But it's gonna take a little bit time.
One more question, important question, that you are traveling a lot all over the world.
Yeah.
And you see many kinds of crowds.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the question is, where do you think is the most open-minded crowd that you see? Because you going all over, you have a good perspective for this.
Well, it's really depend, because like open-minded. I think open-minded, like what I really like at the moment is like is India, because India, for them, it's kind of really new and fresh. So they like everything you do, and you can go like a little bit left and a little bit right, when you know what I mean, like from, yeah. But it's hard to say, because each area or country have they like more this stuff and they like more that stuff. So open-minded.
Open-minded. What I mean to ask you is, sometimes you go to play somewhere and you know that you need all the time to play what the crowd wants.
Yeah.
And a lot of time DJs or producers want to play whatever they want. And
I try to play the music I like, basically. But of course, when I play my live sets, I have to play certain tracks, because this is the
people wait for it.
Yeah. Otherwise, they. Yeah. But. Yeah, really trying to keep myself real as well, like to keep the vibe real.
What you are.
I'm trying. It's sometimes a bit hard as well, because in some countries they don't understand, let's say some more melodic stuff. They like more like big build-ups and kick and bass, yeah. Which for me, it's cool, but it doesn't have so much substance in the songs, let's say. This is also my concept. I'm trying to do songs, not tracks, if you maybe understand what I mean. It's like
Important.
A philosophy about that. And that's why I said before, it's a bit sad that everything sounds a little bit the same, because it's just like random parts after each other, which works, and I love it as well to play, but I just think...
Where is the magic?
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm doing the magic, or nobody else doing, but I'm trying at least to tell a story and to have a concept, to have a concept on each track. Yeah. Basically, today I use mostly VSD, like plugins.
Everything inside the computer?
Mostly, yeah.
And for hardware?
I have some gears, but I don't really use it anymore so much.
You told me before about the 808 and 909.
Yeah, but that's another story. I don't use it for the progressive, for the Liquid Soul project. I love to jam. That means I have some gears, like old school gears from the early days, or I just bought a new TR9 and TR303, I don't know how it's called.
303?
Yeah, but from the Roland, they just released this new series.
Touch.
Yeah, I just forgot how.
TB3.
TB3, yeah. and the TR9, which is amazing. It sounds actually as the original drum machine of 909 and 808, and the GO3, of course. I have some other little small bass machines and drum machines and stuff. So I like to just jam, but it's more low BPM, minimal acid house. I don't know, like from the
When
early
you
days.
talk about the VSTs,
Yeah.
a lot of students here that this is what they do every day, and maybe you can share with us some VSTs that you like.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us.
I think a good synthesizer, all-around synthesizer, is the Silent, which probably everybody of you know. It's a very basic synth, very easy to use, very overviewing, like how you say, like overviewing, like you see everything,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
So it's easy to handle it. It's easy to create or edit whatever which direction you want to go. So I think this is a very basic, good synthesizer. Beside of that, I use a lot of Massive nowadays, which I didn't before because it's a bit more complicated. It takes a while until you understand how it's built, let's say, and how you get to the result you want. But it sounds amazing. And meanwhile, it has a lot of banks and stuff. You just have a lot of presets, so I think it's like you click through it and you find the sound you like and you can work with, and you can edit it also very easily. Yeah.
EQs and compression.
I use actually a lot of Logic plugs, basic stuff. I do usually. Let's say when we keep first with the EQs, I use Logic EQ. I also use Pro Q a lot now lately because it's very smooth equalizer. It's like I don't know. It sounds a bit. It's not so harsh. Let's say when you push something or remove something, it doesn't lose the sound. So it's very gentle EQ. Let's say. With compression, I do not do so much compression on the certain sounds. Actually, if I do it very, very gentle because I think we come again to the point that it becomes too digital or too compressed, too loud. Let's say, which I don't like. But it's my personal taste. I just feel like you lose some kind of vibe when you compress too much and it sounds a little bit too much full on, let's say, or like dubstep, which is like super like loud. And I don't like loud things because you lose the warmth of the sound. I think it's my view. I don't know. There are certain like compressors are good, but there is no specific one. Actually, yeah.
Can you tell us about the process that you go when you decided to make a new project, a new track?
Yeah.
And what is the stages that you go through? From the start of your track, how you start a track, from what tools you start the track, from the drums, from the scenes, from...
So first of all, I produce in Logic 9 still, actually. And I have either an idea of which I want to put somehow into the system, but basically I start with a loop. Yeah, I put some kick, some bass, some melody, some heads, some very basic. I maybe can show you something later how I started, just to have again to create a song, yeah, to have just to have like an idea and a concept of a song, and when I feel right, I start to do the arrangement as good as I can. But basically, I spend a lot of time just in a loop, let's say, of a few bars, and until I'm satisfied that some melodies and bass and somehow like harmonize together, yeah, let's say. And then actually I know already how the track gonna sound actually, like the arrangement, it's more or less easier to do because I know already what I want to put where and how I want to go from this part to this one. And this
You have in your mind the vision all
yeah,
the
and
time
I'm checking as
before-
well in the loop. Of course, I mute this and I solo this, and then I go back on this, and I say, okay, that sounded cool, and then actually you just need to
Arrange.
do it. Yeah, it's not that easy, of course, but it takes me a lot of time. Sometimes
maybe 1 month, maybe 1 year, maybe.
1 month, then I'm super happy. Sometimes it takes 3 years. I mean, it's not that I'm working 3 years on a track, but I start something and then I stuck somewhere, and then I just learned it doesn't make sense to go on and force it to go on. Just put it on side and start something else because it just need to happen. I always say, like, sometimes you get the kind of, I don't know, like some information from above. I don't know how you can say it, yeah. And it just happened, and then it feels right. And it doesn't. And if it doesn't feel right, I don't go on because I don't want to do something I don't like or I'm not sure about it. Yeah. So, and it takes time, many times, and then you come to the mixing process, and this takes me even more time, you know, until it sounds like I want that it's supposed to sound. Yeah, because it's always tricky. Especially when you have a lot of melodies and layers and stuff, it's a bit tricky with mixing. That you don't have a, I call it a soup. You know that everything. Like, yeah, you don't
need to cook something good. Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of cooking. Yeah, so it takes time. Yeah, and but I prefer to let me. How is it like to let me work long time instead of just finishing it because I want to finish it. Because it doesn't matter how much tracks you do in a year, let's say, but if you do only one track in a year and release it, if it's a bomb, it's a bomb, and you saved the whole year actually with it, you know? I mean, like, so it doesn't make sense to, let's say, release 10 tracks a month because nobody will care about it, and it probably sounds, all the 10 tracks will sound the same as you probably use the same basic for every track. What I don't do, I start mostly every track from nothing, from zero, which it's a bit more work and a bit more complicated, of course, but again, it's more unique, and you will remember this track because it sounded totally different to the previous track I did, or the previous of that. And also sometimes I'm trying to do some new stuff. Let's say I do like some more banging stuff, and then the next one can be very emotional, sweet one again. And of course sometimes people hate me for that and say like, now you got too commercial, or you got too much psychedelic or whatever. But in the end, I say I want to make music and I want to try also new things, and I'm very open-minded with music basically. So I listen all kind of music. So I just think if it's more trancey, it's okay, and if it's more psychedelic, it's also okay, and if it's more sound a bit more, I don't know, like Swedish House Mafia. So okay, it sounds like Swedish House Mafia, but I just think we have the possibilities today to go also to some, let's say, to crossing borders. Yeah, not stuck in the same process you are. You know, this is, I think it's very bad. Yeah, I do what I want to do, and I think
maybe this is the reason why you saw success.
Yeah, and on the other hand as well, like if it's too, let's say, commercial for the ones, other will suddenly like it and discover the psychedelic side, let's say, from a totally different scene, yeah, from a Eurotrance scene. What happened lately many times actually, which is cool,
Yes,
I think,
very cool.
because it's.
You open the mind to the people.
Yeah, and it's also open mind for myself because it's always new experiences you do, and also new mixing ways you do, because some styles you mix different, yeah, let's say. Yeah.
And in your mastering? Do you do your mastering or you send your mastering?
Some I do myself. I used to do it only myself. I did also a lot of for other labels, my own like Iboga, for example. I did a lot of mastering for them in the past years, but I stopped to do that because I was just too busy. And today I do master myself, but I started to give the tracks to Ido Ophir, you might know, Domestic.
Domestic Ido Ophir.
He's a genius, I think.
Full genius.
He knows what
Number
he's
one in
doing.
Israel.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He has a really good ears, let's say. And I really trust him, and he did also my album, and that's what I like on him, that he didn't push it to the max, you know. It's not like
Still
others
have the air.
still have air. It's not just like, you know, because you lose the dynamics and you lose the vibe, you lose the warmth, and then you lose everything when you just go into compressing like hell and limiter on top and another.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it was a stage that everybody take the sound to the edge of the compression, and now it's become
because
people
it's
start
stupid.
to bring
I mean,
the
it's
air.
stupid. It doesn't make sense in my view.
Yeah.
To push it to the max, because what happens is, okay, you are louder than the others. It's like, we call it a loudness war. The problem is that when you click in the top 10 of the Beatport, some tracks are louder than the others. Okay, you get more attention and you might buy it. But when you be on stage and you play it, you have to put the gain back on your mixer when you play this song. So in the end, the average volume gonna be lower than the one who has air, because it's logic, because it's just like, it's just too loud. So you have to reduce the volume in the end from the loud track, which has no dynamic, no bass, because no bass. You lose a lot of sub frequencies, which makes it more, maybe I say analog, yeah? Of course it's not analog, but it's kind of the warmth of the, I don't know. Yeah. So I think it's stupid to push it to the max, because it makes no sense at all. Yeah.
Small topic about the social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
This is very big thing today. And a lot of people here want to be artists, I'm sure, all over the world, like you, one day. And what social media you use? Do you think it's important for artists today?
Yeah, I think today it is important. I am a lucky guy, and there was no internet and no Facebook at the time yet. But today I think it's important to have a Facebook page which looks more or less okay. I use it a lot now for promotion. I make a lot of posts, or trying at least, because it's just a network of the world, and I think it also made our scene bigger, because you can reach much more people today as 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So I think social media is very important, but I think also it's the whole combination, because it's not only about music anymore today, also in a sad way to say it, but it's about how the whole product looks. Yeah. I don't like this development, let's say, where it goes, but it's how it is. Yeah, it is very important. But in the end, I say good music is good music, and sooner or later it will reach the people. But of course, it makes sense if you have a Facebook page of your art, like your artist Facebook page, yeah? Because you have to show the people somehow, or SoundCloud and whatever, all these portals. Yeah.
Do you think it's still important to know how to be a DJ?
I do, yes.
Disc jockey, you know.
Well, okay, I must say I love to DJ, so that's why I think it's important. But if I think about it, it's not really important anymore, because when you sure all know those videos when this big guys playing, but they don't play anymore. Actually, I mean, they just stand there and like this, and it works. People want to see that. They don't care if you can mix or not, if you play a pre-recorded set or not. And even you do, people talk about it and say, they play pre-recorded set. So, but in the end, it makes another promotion because it goes around in Facebook and everybody say like, Swedish House Mafia don't even mix anymore. But in the end, they became more big because everybody knows them now. And it's, of course they had some good tracks, but I don't know if it's really important to be a good DJ. I don't know, actually. I just think
but
the
it's
DJ...
important that you know that this guy is a DJ in his blood, you know, everywhere.
We talked about before, like in 10 years ago, it was important to be a good DJ, so you had to improve yourself to keep people on the dance floor and bring the people to certain points, let's say, in a state of mind, I don't know, like state of trance. But today everything is faster and shorter, and even me, I usually play, like for example here in Israel, I usually play 1 hour, which is in a way okay, but in another way it's like 1 hour. What is 1 hour? Can you really bring people to a certain point within 1 hour? Yes, okay, it's energetic, and you try to push everything to the max, you know, and push a lot of things together to have a lot of climax, let's say, within 1 hour. But I think it's a bit sad because we used to play at least 3 hours to improve yourself, to bring the people to a point where they are like
crazy.
Wow, you know, in state of trance, let's say, yeah. But it's a different time now, yeah.
Maybe it will be again.
Maybe.
I think it's also the right way.
Maybe it's also an overdose now today a little bit.
Somebody need to talk. It's taking him some time to talk. The DJ need to talk with music, so sometimes
it's about telling a story. If you are good, you will tell them a story, and you're gonna have a perfect ending. You know that nobody will. Like that everybody remembers what you told them, kind of, you know, and how the story ends.
Now, before we finish, there's a lot of students here that want to hear some tips. So if you can tell some something that you can share with us.
So basically, what I'm thinking as a tip, what I'm saying is like be original, don't copy, listen what others doing. And maybe when you're in a process where you just started to produce, try to copy. It's okay because it's kind of learning to listen what they do and how you do it. But in the end, if you want to succeed, I think it's very important to be original. Find your own style, find your own sound, whatever whatever style it is, because you have to be unique to succeed, I think, because people otherwise don't hear you, because you're one of millions who have a laptop and have a synthesizer on it, you know. Everybody can make music today. So it's important to find your style, to be comfortable what you are doing, and the rest is just like work, actually, you know, I think. Hard work, yeah, it's hard work. It's a lot of time. I mean, people always think like, to be DJ producer is like a good life. Yeah, it is a good life, but it's on the other hand, it's like hard and tough. I mean, you spend so much time in the studio or in the plane or whatever. These people don't see. They just see the hour you make, like, ooh, it's party, you know, and having fun. But it's not the reality. The reality is it's a lot of work and hard work, a lot of time you spend, a lot of, let's say, a price you have to pay for that. Means also like don't see your friends so much, or don't making your girlfriend always pissed and so on, you know. So yeah, because it's normal, you know, it's how it is. But really try to love what you're doing, to be comfortable what you're doing, and to be original. Yeah, really. because everything what else it's you see it in the last 10 years in this scene, in the progressive, all the people copying each other, staying where they are. They cannot make the last step, let's say. This is what I feel, or what I saw.
What your age was when you started to produce your...
To produce around 16, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. When I started with 14, I discovered everything. I started to DJing. But I always thought like, but we could, why he didn't go on like that, or why he didn't make a break here, or why use this sound for the melody. So I tried to, very primitive at the time, of course, with some very primitive gears, and everything was still in MIDI, and there was no computer actually helping you save everything and stuff. So it was like with huge mixers and some gears and with MIDI controllers and the sequencer, and it sounded terrible. I loved it. I was like, wow, so good. Wow, look this track. But it sounded terrible, but it doesn't matter. It didn't matter at all, because it was just fun, and it was like, I felt good with it. So, and then it developed.
The result is what you are.
Yeah.
In real.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
Two questions. One, do you think there's a difference between releasing music as a beginner artist or as Liquid Soul? I'm asking in your point of view, when you just started and today. You think today everything you throw at the label they will accept?
Yeah, definitely yes.
So, okay.
No, but it's true. I mean, I have the privilege now, let's say, to do whatever I want, actually, of course, in some kind of algorithm. But basically, yes, it's for me much easier to release my music or to sign a contract, let's say, and even maybe get to the top 10, because it's just like you have the name, Of course, it's harder for a beginner. But I think if you make good music and keep on doing good music, there is a lot of space and a lot of possibilities to gain.
Yeah. Second one, okay.
Yeah.
And today, let's say you began doing what, progressive trance or something. Today, that's what you do, I guess, right?
Yeah, I would call it psychedelic progressive trance.
Yes. So there's a lot of issues when you release a track, yeah, and like the structure, the building, and how should it be, and I'm asking this, especially it's pointed to you because you like a lot of melodies in your tracks, and you like the musical thing, but do you, would you start a track now, or maybe 10 years ago, with the melody on the drop?
No.
No?
I mean, today, you mean like you have a build-up with a melody, like let's say a break, with the melody you go...
intro, and on the drop you will
and then you go on with the melody or not.
Yes.
So,
not necessarily after the break, but maybe in the intro, after the intro.
Okay, after the intro, I think you should go with dry, without the melody. It has two reasons. First of all, it's better for the DJ to mix it. The second point is it's just more common today and more accepted, let's say, from the crowd. They like it.
And do you have any rules in the build? Like when you build a melody, is it something like very square with the questions and answers, or it's just whatever you feel? It's like, can be very long, maybe?
I would say in my older tracks there's a lot of question-answer things happening. Like some sounds say hello, and the answer say yeah, I'm here. Today, not so much anymore. Today it's more about a whole melody structure which I just feel right.
Improvisation, maybe?
Yeah, it just happens. I mean, it takes time sometimes, like it's... to write a melody, it's easy, but to write a good melody, a remember melody, or a melody who touches you, It's not so easy. So it takes, also to me, it takes fucking ages sometimes. Yeah, it's not that I'm a magician and I sit in the studio and write another beautiful, emotional melody. It's not like that at all. Yeah, so it takes time, and then sometimes you get to the point and sometimes not, and so you throw it away and try something new. Yeah.
Do you take like different influence from different genres, and where all the students and whatever should look for good influence to do like something creative and new?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to be open to a lot of music, different music styles. I listen to many things. I personally like a lot of chill out.
What?
Chill out, lounge, chill out stuff. But I also listen to, even like, I also listen to the new EDM stuff. Not that I like it at all, actually, but I think it's important to be open to those things, you know, because it's somehow many people on this world love it. It popped up like from nothing in 1 year. It was the biggest. It's the biggest thing now. So it must have something in it what people love. So I can actually I did some new track. I'm still working on it. I can show you maybe later, which has some EDM influences. Many people are gonna hate me for that, I know, because it's kind of yeah. But I think, why not?
It's part of the game.
Why not? If I do it in my way, it's still my way, and it's still me. You cannot satisfy all your fans or people who like you, because it's a static, as he said, it's a static development of style. Let's say psychedelic trance doesn't sound like 10 years ago. Progressive trance, what I did 10 years ago, it was much more groovy, much more kind of, let's say, slow, even though it's the same BPM, but it was more like groovy bass lines, more question answering. Today it's more, let's say, full-on-isher, straighter. We had the time like 2 years ago until now, we had a lot of build-ups all the time, which we didn't have before. Like crazy, like ooh, no, and then kick bass. This was really not, let's say, unexpected 10 years ago. We could like, what? No, you cannot do that. So now it's what you cannot do and go on with the melody, you know? So it's always changing. So I just say like, if I do something like that, let's say, and take some EDM influences, I'm checking out my boundaries as well, and I'm trying to do something new. And the funny thing is that when I play, especially this track, people fucking freaking out.
Which track is it?
It's not. I'm still working. I mean, maybe I can. Is it on? It actually, what happens is just I use the EDM kick. Means it's a kick, a big kick with the bass on the kick. Yeah? There is no bass between or after the kick. You know? So it sounds like this. Yeah? Okay, very familiar to EDM. Yeah? But it's my style. Now comes the melody, and I think you will notice my way, you know. Because to stick in the same genre, same style, it's bad for you, I think. And it doesn't mean that I'm gonna keep on doing that. But here and there, I will try new things, and I think it's important. And as I see people reacting good on it,
Yeah, it's good.
so maybe it's also because it's Liquid Soul playing. I don't know if it's really good. For some, it's too.
Many artists, right, get inspiration, you know, from regular stuff, girlfriend, family. What is like the strangest thing that inspired you to write a track? I don't mean like the regular stuff,
Yeah, but
like
I think,
love or
yeah,
stuff
but
like
I would say love, and I would say also when you're really sad, when something happened, something bad happened to you, because it's a. Then you are in a state of very emotional. Yeah, in an emotional state. So I think it helps you, even it's bad or good, for good, it helps you to create some, especially melodies, to create some emotional, melodies. I don't know, like you feel it maybe better
when you're emotional.
because you're more sensitive at the moment you're doing it, instead of being like running or being tired or running around all the time and don't have also time for yourself, let's say, which happens many times, you know, you just run from one place to another and you don't even know where you are, but so it's not then it's not a good situation to write a nice melody, but maybe it's a good situation to write something like banging, you know, let's say. Just found this before I left at home, and this was actually, I was on traveling somewhere, and this was the beginning when I started a track, and it was actually this one. You might know this. From my last album, Revolution. So what I did, this was the start. And actually this melody, in the end I kicked it. Maybe I'm gonna do another track with that because I like it. But in the end I stuck with this. Actually it's not only like this, it's like... And then you see I tried already to add some more notes, but I deleted it, muted it again, so I mute it again, so I mean it sounds like this. And then, if I am in that kind of state, I feel really comfortable with this loop. Very simple loop actually. There's not much happening because it's only this lead. But I felt it's fucking, I don't know, but it's also kind of new style, yeah? It's not really psychedelic, it's even more Euro trance. But if you add the right kick and bass, it's okay. I don't know. So it's important to it's important that it fits together and create something out of it, and then after you have a loop like that, it's actually almost logic already what you're gonna do, because with you can work with only this lead so much, okay, which is a silent. Maybe I show you how I came to this lead, because I remember it was like that. It's a preset from, maybe I reopen it from the beginning, let's say. It's it's really one of the first leads here. It's called Follow. It sounds like this already. Let's say 1 second, sorry. But it sounded a bit too trancey for me, and what I can maybe recommend you when you have some kind of leads like that, to get more punch, because some people actually ask me, how you make this like this? It's like so sharp. You compress a lot. I said, no, I don't compress at all, actually. I mean, a little bit, yes, but the point is all about this envelope mode. You see, can you see it? Yeah, okay. So you do actually put the cutoff filter through this envelope. So that means you add the
open and close.
Yeah, the gain of it, kind of, and you open this one. And what happens is like, you see it start to click. Before, without, it's kind of flat. And like this, it sounds like it's super overcompressed. But you get a lot of punch, attack, yeah.
Use it with the automation.
No, actually, yeah, of course I do a lot of automation, but then I have to control only the cutoff. Yeah? And I control the cutoff, and then I'm in the break in the end, and I control this. And then I control an LFO on it, and blah, 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 blah. And in the end, you go back, and, you know, because it's much more punchy instead of like that. It's a small difference, but it's a huge one, you know. Yeah. So if you add it, it gives like this tick, 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 yeah. And then the bend, you know, you see it's like getting really short. More like this, like that. Side chain it a little bit to keep the space for the kick. And it's actually already done. Yeah. Lately, people put some, me too, like some pit crusher sometimes on top of the bass. It gives you like some kind of crunchy feeling. Like, I just mix it in now. You hear?
Yeah.
Crispy. Without. But you need, yeah. Need to be careful with it, but it makes it more, I don't know, crispy. Yeah, as you say. But it's depend what you're doing, you know, it's always, I don't want a crispy when I'm being in an emotional track. But if I'm in a banging track, I put some, even on the kick, Reshef, Captain Hook actually started with that, and it sounds really good when he's doing it. So, yeah.
So we want to thank Nicola.
Yeah, I hope... I hope it was okay for you guys. If you want to ask me something after, it's okay. Yeah.
We can listen to one last track before we go.
Yeah, of course.
Just on the iTunes is good. Okay.
Israelis like it loud.
Good is that, man.